think the expectations were that the Bills were going to take some type of step back in 2024. Could be a small step, could be more than a small step. They lost Ron Diggs and Gabe Davis in the offseason in various manners. And the reality is feeling like maybe the Bills missed their window of opportunity, like you only get so many chances to not cash in that ultimate ticket before things go south. So it's reasonable to think like, hey, are they even going to be able to win the AFC East? Or if they do, are they really going to be on the level of maybe like the Chiefs or the Ravens and be a real contender in this conference? And the short answer was, yeah, they were, right? They didn't take a step back, and overall they took a small step forward, but unfortunately for them, not the ultimate one that they really should have been able to take this year. Like, as much as you talk about recent years, like where did they miss a golden opportunity, it feels like 2024 is where the Bills really truly lost a golden opportunity. Maybe not to win the Super Bowl. Who knows what would have happened if they faced the Philadelphia Eagles, but certainly feels like they would have put up a better fight and a better game. But at least they would have gotten there, and at least they would have had a shot. But ultimately, it was not to be. They finished 13-4 in the regular season. They were AFC East champs by 5 games. So any thoughts or delusions of the Dolphins or the Jets maybe being able to make it interesting just never manifested, and the Bills were able to coast pretty comfortably to getting a playoff spot in a home playoff game. Even though like early on in the year they started off 3-2 and they had losses to the Ravens and the Texans, so you're kind of like, I don't really know here. But they certainly righted the ship and they figured it out. They dominated the Broncos in the wild card game. They were able to hold off the Ravens and get it done 27-25 in the divisional round. And as they are prone to do under head coach Sean McDermott, they came up short against the Chiefs in the playoffs yet again. Pain, right? Absolute pain. And what could have been a really, really great to special season for the Bills just feels like another wasted opportunity, which is a shame because Josh Allen was the league MVP, and frankly, to me, he deserved it. Lamar had a tremendous season. Somebody like Sam Darnold had a really good season. Saquon Barkley had a special season as a running back. But you look at Josh Allen and his offense and you say, what did he have around him? Meanwhile, Lamar Jackson, yes, he put up monster numbers, impressive numbers, but he had Derrick Henry running for like 1,900 yards. He had Zay Flowers to throw to and Mark Andrews and so forth, and Josh Allen didn't have any of that shit. He had to do what he did with less help around him. That to me is what made him the MVP. Excuse me. And even then, you're talking about a guy threw for 28 touchdowns, only had 8 combined turnovers on the year, over 500 rushing yards, another 12 rushing touchdowns. So that's 40 combined touchdowns on a team with an inferior offensive supporting cast. Like, to me, the MVP race between Lamar and Josh Allen is like, I get either perspective, and that's not trying to play the middle or be wishy-washy here. As you know, I will certainly have my definitive opinions, but sometimes it's just like, okay, one guy wins, I get it. The other guy wins, I get it. It's not really a reason to bitch or moan about it, right? Similar to the Heisman with Genti versus Travis Hunter. I could totally understand either guy winning. It's just the way it worked out. But Josh Allen would have gotten my vote this year. James Cook had over 1,000 yards rushing, but it wasn't like he was exactly lighting the world on fire. And 1,000 yards rushing in these extended NFL seasons really isn't that impressive. Their offense, though, was second in points scored, 10th in total yards for an offense that was expected to take some form of step back in 2024. It just really didn't manifest. But what did manifest was the defense regressed quite a bit this past season. They went from 9th in yards allowed in 2023 to 17th. They went from 4th in total points allowed to 11th. And you sit there and you have to ask, like, Sean McDermott, what exactly do you do around here? And why did the Bills keep tying themselves to Sean McDermott? This is not me saying he's a bad coach. He is not. However, there's a difference between being a good coach and being the right coach that can get you over the hump and get the ultimate job done. If Sean McDermott was available on the market, would other teams be rushing to interview him and somebody would hire him and pay him a lot of money? Absolutely. Absolutely. But there is a shelf life for all of these head coaches with an NFL team. And some head coaches can be really, really good and no longer be the right man for the job and the moment and the situation in the organization. Similar to what I think of like a Mike Tomlin, a John Harbaugh. a Sean McDermott. Like, there have to be consequences here at some point. You can't keep fumbling the bag year after fucking year and having it be your defense that more often than not cost you. Because you have to sit there at some point and say, what exactly the fuck do you do around here? It's a fair push, right? So now you go into the offseason, and it looks like it could be even more bad news bears for the Bills, if you will. More than $40 million over the salary cap. You could save over $8 million by releasing Von Miller. We'll see if they do or not, or try to rework his deal or something. They've got a lot of maneuvering to do, probably extensions, adding void years, kicking can down the road just to be able to get under the salary cap. And then they've got some free agents like Amari Cooper, Rasul Douglas, Mac Hollins, Jordan Phillips, DeMar Hamlin. And you wonder, like, you know, is it actually going to be 2025 that the Bills take a step back? And was this the season that it needed to be? And it is too late now. It is a really fair question. So going into this offseason, they've got some work to do because you can't sit there and say all the pieces are in place and you can't get the job done. So what do they need to address? You know, I realize DeMar Hamlin is a tremendous story, you know, about perseverance and overcoming, you know, a pretty significant health scare, right? I mean, the guy literally died on the field, but he's been playing, and just the harsh reality is he's not very good. They need a big, significant upgrade at free safety. Like if you somehow, some way were able to get Malachi Starks to drop to them at pick 30, they would have to be over the moon with that, because that's the type of presence that they need in their secondary. Unlikely as that is to happen, I'm just saying, like, that's the type of guy that they would need to be targeting, because they need somebody on the back end of that defense to be that center fielder that can really impose his will. And then I look at wide receiver. You know, they just gave Shakir a big contract. It felt like a bit of an overpay to me. But it's obvious that is still a need. Yes, you traded for Amari Cooper, but what if he's not back? You've got Keon Coleman, but you don't have enough. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the Bills consider taking a wide receiver in round one, because at the end of the day, you're built around Josh Allen. You have to help Josh Allen. But I do imagine a lot of their draft being devoted to the defensive end of the ball. As I mentioned, free safety. I also think they need some help at corner, because they really weren't able to cover anybody at key moments in time. And then they need more depth on the edge. They need to be able to not just generate pressure up the middle, but be able to generate pressure on the outside. Because as we've seen, the teams that are most successful, they're able to get after the opposing quarterback. And if the Bills want to have a chance to get over the hump in 2025, they've got to be able to do that on a consistent basis. You know, the thing is, like with the Bills, you've got Josh Allen, so you've got a shot. It's that simple, right? But consider me not sold that you're giving Sean McDermott another year. You've got a team that is significantly over the salary cap right now. And yeah, I feel like, unless something dramatically shifts the landscape here, that the Bills are going to take that inevitable step back in 2025.